Good morning. And what a beautiful windy morning it is. I have the camera flipped. I'm actually watching myself. I don't like to use this floor mat, however you say that, screen, but chose to do it. I've already set the timer to go off. I set it at 11 minutes. It was probably 10 and a half in when I started. We have a new president-elect. This is Friday. I think it's the 9th. I'm sorry. I believe it's the 8th. But I know it's Friday, November. A lot goes through my mind. I could pull many memories from many videos, from many of scripture reading. The wind comes, the wind goes, and it directs my thoughts, if you will, or be comparisons. What I want to say, one reason I don't like to use this screen, because I see this being in reverse. So for you to read what it says, you couldn't read it based on what I think it's recording, because I'm looking at it in reverse. But I had a chance to go to the Holy Land, and we know it's Israel. I didn't realize I was given this map until the third day in. Now, I love maps. I'm someone that likes to follow a map. And just to give you an idea, now this is very windy, and it may not be something I ever upload, but I wished I would have had this a month before I went to Israel, because I'm not going to try to open it up full scale, but this is probably about a 4-foot long map, 16 inches wide, of Israel. But as I was looking at it, I couldn't figure out what the yellow highlights were. And it took me a while to find a graph, to find a chart. So if you were able to read backwards, which I'm thinking is probably what you'll see, I can't even try to read backwards. But the yellows, Palestinian responsibility for civil affairs and public order. Of Palestinian Israel responsibility for security of Israel. I missed a period in there, but not to belinger this. I think of America, and I'm glad we have a new president-elect, and I'm going to say for the third time, for a true election. What I want to say, I cannot say in 10 minutes. I can't say in 11 minutes. I can't say in a measurable period of time. I'm trying to keep my map from being destroyed, because it really means a lot to me to have a functional map that is just knotted up. As I've been reading in Malachi, this morning I read from my phone, Who is the author of Malachi? Because if you read the bio of what my Bible says, the name is nowhere else in biblical literature. It gives the writing of the time along about Nehemiah. And it starts talking about the temple. As I'm studying Malachi, I should not even be trying to make a video on it no more than I have been able to study it. But if you read it word for word, how much it lines up with where we are and how we are and who we are, in a broad sense. They were sacrificing blind animals, the rejects. And he says, would you give this to your governor? How would your governor be pleased with it? In Ezekiel 37, God speaks to Son of Man. That is a current term for the reader. God spoke through his prophets years ago. God speaks through his word today, and he can still speak through people. But he has to follow his word, because he's not a man that he can lie. I'm glad we have a new president-elect. Many think everything will go back to normal within 6 months. My word does not say that. My written word. There's so much hatred. Back to this map. We have had open borders for a long period of time. And this is much what America looks like. Except it hadn't been put on paper yet. I'm an optimistic person. But as long as there's hate, and I say the word hate, hatred, there's no forgiveness, there's no order, there's no respect, there's no love in general. There's boundaries. The church is not what God intended it to be. It's a house of robbers. Just as Jesus said in his day, you have made my house a den of robbers. You celebrate Halloween and all kind of other holidays. You sell cookies, garage sales, and you tell people they cannot come back to your buildings. I've experienced it personally and from others that were hurt tremendously. What kind of church do we have overall in general? We neglect the widow and the orphan. Your benevolence fund, if you even have one, is pitiful. God is fixing to have His will. And He will use unruly people to allow things to happen, just as He did many times. God bless you. And before this video cuts off, may God bless America.